Texas. They all got together, and everybody got convinced that, yeah, because they said, don't worry, because the market will take care of itself. You know how they always say. The market will take care of itself. You don't need to regulate them with this burdensome regulation. So everybody said, gee, okay, you know. So they did away. They did away with Glass-Steagall. But one senator, Dorgan from Dakota, he told them that as they passed the legislation, it's on film. If you do this, and this was 1999, if you do this 10 years from now, we could be very sorry. And it was almost 10 years to the day when the market crashed. So here we have now, you have a situation where they're trying to put in the Dodd-Frank legislation. Well, hey, what just happened to Jamie Dimon a month ago? And his group? They're still doing the same thing. They're still doing exactly the same thing. And they're making it think that this 2,500 pages of Dodd-Frank is going to somehow keep these people under control. It is not. It is not going to keep them under control. But you haven't heard but a handful of congressmen even mention, hey, why not, instead of messing around with this 2,500 pages of Dodd-Frank that's not working, why don't we just reinstate the Glass-Steagall Act? It's 37 pages. 37 pages. It's bulletproof. It would automatically mean that the investment banks and the commercial banks and the insurance companies would once again have to separate. And if the investment bankers want to risk money with derivatives or any other thing, go ahead. Because when you fail, only you and your investors lose money. And the people don't have to bail you out. And the commercial banks can do what commercial banks do. Because banks, when you get to the issue of, like you were talking about earlier, with the health insurance companies, about profit. You know, private, that's what they're there for. They're not, they don't care about the people, other than the fact they don't want to pay for their sicknesses. They are only interested in profit, and it is the same thing true of the too big to fail banks. So they don't. Once the greed starts coming in, and you start doing these derivative instruments, and you watch your buddies over at Goldman Sachs or wherever, they're making tons of money. Then you start doing it. Then they bundling the home loans and selling them off and selling them again, and they're all being backed up by the insurance companies like AIG, which couldn't pay off, pay off. But it's that house of cards that keeps going until you have what you had in 2008, where all of a sudden one company starts creaking, one card over here, and then in a short time it all comes down and can't be saved. So the only thing that did save them, the banksters, was that they took all our money. It didn't save the people. It didn't save any of the people. The jobs, when Obama came in, that we were losing jobs at 700,000 a month. And so the devastation is incredible. But we can change that if we reinstate Glass-Steagall. How many congressmen do you hear say, let's reinstate Glass-Steagall? Or senator? Or the president? Money. It's money. And they are funded by huge influx of money from banks, from investors, from hedge funds, and all these people, and they go to Dodd-Frank to pretend to the people that they're doing something. They know all they need to do is reinstate Glass-Steagall, but they don't want to do it because then they lose all the money that they're getting from all these other corporations. Do you know there were two people that were involved primarily from Travelers Insurance and Citi that actually put in that worked to get Glass-Steagall overturned. Both of them, Sandy Lyle and I forget the other guy, but the two people from Travelers and Citi that started this whole thing back in 1998, 1999, both of them today say we made a mistake. We thought that the banks would take care of themselves, that they wouldn't go beyond risk that they such and such, and we were wrong. Both of them support reinstating Glass-Steagall because the drive to make more money when you see the other guy making more money, it's just too irresistible. And so the risk taking gets worse and worse and worse until you have what we have. You just have to take that risk out, at least for the American people. You do that, and we can have an economy that could take a hit, in bad economic times, but it won't be a knockout blow like we did. You could have the stock market drop a couple of 100 points, but it's not going to put everybody out of work. So, but it is money. It is paid off politicians from Congress on up are the reason that we don't have Glass-Steagall reinstated already. Stop playing around with this Dodd-Frank stuff.
And you're not taking their money.
No, that's why I say I'm not running for Congress to get rich. I don't even want to run for Congress. I'm running for Congress because my conscience said that somebody must stand up against one of the #1 guys who's for sale, and that's where the numbers show. He takes more money, 5 times as much money in contributions than we pay him, and he's working for somebody, but it's not the people, in my opinion. And the people need to have their own representative, and you can't say that you represent the people and take the money. You cannot be I call these people prostitutes, not to defame them, but just for the idea. They're giving this service. In other words, they're going to be doing for their contributors because they receive money. So I call them prostitutes. But you can the reason that, and I'm not purer than driven snow, but the idea being, if I don't take the money, you can't call me a prostitute. That's why I don't take it, because I'm not a prostitute. And you can't be a part-time prostitute, like a person in the Congress or the Senate. You can't be a part-time prostitute and a full-time representative of the people. That's it, because you only have full-time. You can't be part-time, half-time, fourth-time. You cannot be part-time prostitute and a full-time representative. That's all there is to it. So I have, in order to demonstrate that I don't care about money, I got enough money, that I don't take it. I won't take it. And so that the people in District 50 can say, oh, Secor, he's a dope, or Secor did this wrong, but then they won't be able to say Secor did it for the money. They can say, I don't like the way he voted here, but they won't be able to say he did it because he got paid off. And I think that's important. I think that's very important. And everything that you look at, we were talking Glass-Steagall, we were talking insurance companies, we were talking about for-profit prisons, we've been talking about Medicare and Medicaid, whatever it might be. All you have to do is follow the money in Congress, the tax code the way it is today. All those pages and pages of little amendments that some congressman put in to help out his buddy corporation over here or something else, it's all about the money. And you have to have a representative that just won't take the money. It's too late now in this election cycle. But I'm not going to run again if I don't make it this time. But I would say, and I would start a group that says, here's notice. In District 50, in the 2014 election, Democrat, Republican, Independent, whatever it might be, whoever, because it's open primary, anybody can run. If you take over $100 in contributions, you will not get my vote. End of story. And the people need to let all potential politicians, including the one there now, let everybody know this has to stop. Because until it stops, anything that the people really want or need will not get addressed. So it's up to the people. It's up to the people to demand. Power concedes nothing without a demand. So it's up to the people to demand in this next cycle that don't tell me you're a good guy. Don't promise me X. Promise me one thing. You are not going to take the money. And then we'll discuss the issues. You know, you have town halls where everybody can show up. You get plenty of time to talk to all the people. Just don't take the money. One of the reasons Duncan Hunter isn't here and never will debate anybody is he doesn't have to. He's got $1 million. He's got $1 million in his daddy's name. And that's it. End of story. So he can look the voters right in the face and say, I'm not going to go in front of a live, he does town halls by telephone. I'm not going to go in front of the people live, my employers, go in front of my employers live and let them ask me questions? You got to be nuts. When I can just hide over here with my money and my name, which gets elected every 2 years, why would I want to face my employers? You know, and their questions, if I don't have to. And so he does it. In your face. In your face. I don't care what the people want because it doesn't matter. I'm winning this thing. And the only reason I might lose is if the people found out how I vote and what I stand for. If they found that out, I wouldn't have a chance. I wouldn't have a chance in a million. But as long as I'm just, if I stay in the background, just have the R and Duncan Hunter, I'm in. I think that the people are going to have to rethink that because you can look at his record. He lives at Gridlock Central in Washington, and he doesn't care. He said to the people at the Ramona Tea Party event on May 19th, were you there?
No.
We had a town hall. It was the only one of the 6 town halls that he bothered to show up. He was at the parade or something that day in Ramona, and then so he came over and actually participated there. I think all 5 of people were there. He said, and the video of it is on YouTube, it's on, and he said, I don't care what the people think. A person from the audience said, well, you know, what if all the people in the district felt a particular way, or not a lot, but you know, a majority, he said, I don't listen to the people. He said, I vote the way I believe I should vote. And if the people don't like it, they can vote me out. So what he's doing is said, I am not your employee. I don't work for you. I take the money from you, I take your paycheck, but I work for Pentagon contractors, and I work to push my personal agenda, whatever moral, religious agenda that wants to control women for some reason. Those are the only 2 things I care about. And that's what I'm pushing. And if you don't like it, tough. Vote me out. And it's not like it's a bold statement. It's not a bold statement because he knows what you and I know. As long as he's a Duncan Hunter, chances are people will vote the name and not understand, not really know not who they're voting for, but what they're voting for. You could have actually women, centrist Republican women. If they knew that they were voting to remove freedom of choice, if they knew that they were voting so that if their daughter happened to get raped, that she could not get a morning after pill. You know, that's part of the law that he wants enacted, is to do away with the morning after pill. So a rape victim can't take one of those to avoid pregnancy by a rapist. If women knew these type of things, then they wouldn't vote for him, but they don't know. And as long as he stays away from debates, away from town halls, and away from any way that the people, particularly the new people in the district here up north, as long as they don't know anything really about him except that he's a Duncan Hunter and he's an R, you'll get elected. So when your representative can only get elected by staying away from you and avoiding you, you need a new representative. Let me just mention a couple of things. We know that I am for keeping Social Security and Medicare benefits exactly as they are. We'll make the adjustments that need to be made, but we are not going to have people under 55 and younger not have Social Security and Medicare when they are at retirement age. It's going to be there. End of story. Medicaid for the elderly and for the disabled and for children. The Ryan budget calls for cuts there. No, I mean you have to cut somewhere else. This whole thing about having the entire burden of the tax burden and the pressures, economic pressures we're under, have the entire burden carried by working people, the elderly, and the children with their loss of education, whatever it is, food in school, whatever it might be. That's not the way to do it. That's the last thing you should do. So I'm looking to see to it that if the people want it, that we shift the priorities and take care of the people that need to be taken care of. They're not asking for to live high. They're asking to live in dignity. And there is nothing wrong with feeding a hungry child. So, and they're all made to be demons. But remember this: food stamp recipients, over half of food stamp recipients are working. But they're working at jobs that pay so little that they qualify for food stamps. And that includes Walmart employees, where the Walmart family is, the people in the Walmart family, they're the richest people in the United States. The family is. Walmart workers, they are amongst the lowest paid, where you have an average, I think, of something like $17,000 for a Walmart employee. And if you got a spouse, or a couple of kids, you're getting food stamps. In fact, they used to give you a food stamp application with your employment, with your job application. And it's true for medical care too. So again, this gets back to the point where when you concentrate wealth so much in one place, that this mass of people, the discrepancy gets to be such a point that it's bad. It's good for the Walton family, but it's bad for everybody else. So, second, the last thing too, because everybody always brings it up, Second Amendment, gun rights and all that stuff. There is no conspiracy. There is no conspiracy to take away anybody's guns. It is not going to happen. We in the Congress would never allow the Second Amendment to be done away with. This is solely a deal that's ginned up by a certain group of Republicans to keep working people in the GOP while they're getting screwed economically, because the most that's important to them, their gun rights. So these people are telling them, what's his name, LaPierre and the NRA, oh, there's a conspiracy to take away all your guns. The UN is going to take over the country. LaPierre is just getting filthy rich and living in his mansion by spieling this stuff out so that all these poor NRA members are scared. Again, fear always being the prime motivator to get them to do things and say things to get those votes. And it's a shame. I would never. I am a gun owner. Most of my friends are gun owners. And they know very well that they would never stand, I would never stand for the Second Amendment rights. End of story. So there is no conspiracy. There is no UN. No way the UN can take over the world and all this other kind of stuff. But they put out that material one, to get rich, like LaPierre, and two, to get votes from people, poorer people who normally would never vote for them because it's against their economic interests, but because they push the gun issue, they'll vote for them anyway, even though it hurts their families, it hurts their children. What this congressman will do to them economically, they do it anyway. It's just one of those buttons you can push and get voted. I'm glad it's out there, but you know where I stand, and I'm sorry that the congressman won't tell you where he stands. He doesn't feel he has to, but you know where I stand on these issues, and you can get some more information if you want at my website, Secor4Congress.com. And when you go there, don't send me any money. Don't send me any money. I got 2 weeks to go. I'll take care of whatever else goes. Don't send me any money. But when you go to my website, there are icons there for Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, where you can get things that are put in every day to see where I'm coming from, and you can look back over time and all that kind of things. Because you won't find anything about Duncan Hunter anywhere. You won't find anything on his website. You won't find anything anywhere. But I'm an open book, so you can go to the website and move on there. And regardless, you know what? Two things I want to say about just voting. Period. Do you know that I saw this the other day? The 99%, right? Everybody's been talking about the 99% forever. Well, here's the deal. And you know, I'm 99%, like, and the guy says, you know, the 99% wouldn't have to worry about the 1% if they voted. Instead of staying home and crying the blues and yelling about how Congress is doing the wrong thing, but not voting. And then the other one I like too. If a guy says, you know, if you think that you're too smart, or you're too cool, or you're too sophisticated to vote, you know, that's for suckers. You know, I'm too smart to vote. I'm not going to vote. Well, remember this: you're going to be governed by people who are dumber, dorkier, and more Three Stoogeier than you are. So when you stay home, it may not be the best thing for you to do. And if you look around at Congress today, you know it's true. So be sure and register and vote. It's important to be part of the process, because if you don't vote, then you have no reason to complain, because you had your opportunity to say something, and you sit and you didn't do it. And lastly, the children. They're going to look back on an election like this one today. We're in a critical stage in this country. And they're going to look back, and they are either going to praise you for having the courage to stand up and do the things that you knew were right to do in 2012, or they're going to curse you for not taking action when you knew. For them, you knew now was the time. Now was the time that you had to stand up for that future generation, to see that they have a middle-class life, they have an environment that's livable. You're the ones that's going to be making that decision right now. It's up to us old-timers, you know. We are the ones who must plant the seedlings of the trees whose shade we will never know. That's what we're supposed to do. And to the degree that it's all I, me, mine, and don't worry about what's going to happen 50, 100 years from now. No. Because your kids and your grandkids and their kids, they're depending on the decisions that you make, the seedlings you plant today. So be sure and get out there and vote. I mean, and vote the way you see it. You don't have to vote for me, but vote for the way you see it. And don't let 40% of the people who vote, don't let them say how it's going to be for everybody. We need everybody to vote. That's enough for tonight. And thanks to everybody. Thanks to you here, and the people that had to leave early. And remember, whoever's sick, be there, be square. Good night.